These engines did not just fail, they ruined cars, bank accounts, and even entire brands. Some were so bad they left owners stranded, furious, or both. So, which engines made history for all the wrong reasons? And is your car on the list? Toyota is known for legendary reliability, but even the best make mistakes. 3.0-liter V6, 3VZE, and 3VZFE, an engine so infamous for head gasket failures that Toyota was forced to extend warranties and cover repairs. Found in the Toyota 4Runner, pickup Camry, and T100, this engine left thousands of owners abandoned, overheating, and searching for a tow truck. Despite Toyota's strong reputation, Consumer Reports and J.D. Power recorded high failure rates for this engine, with cooling system failures, overheating issues, and costly repairs. Toyota eventually confessed to the problem, but many owners had already suffered disastrous engine damage. The 3.0-liter V6 looked great on paper, 140 to 185 horsepower, smooth performance, but it came with major design flaws. Weak head gaskets that often failed before 100,000 miles, sometimes much earlier. Coolant leaks into the cylinders leading to overheating and eventual engine failure. Underpowered for its size, making it both unreliable and sluggish. With 15 to 19 miles per gallon, and the 3.0-liter V6 was neither fuel efficient nor worth the headache. A used 4Runner or Camry from this era still sells for $4,000 to $10,000, but unless the head gaskets have been replaced, you're buying a ticking time bomb. Many drivers praised Toyota's comfort and handling until their engines overheated on the highway. Mechanics made a fortune replacing head gaskets, radiators, and entire engines. Toyota finally upgraded to the 3.4-liter V6 5VZFE, which solved many of these issues, but the damage to the 3.0-liter's reputation was already done. Is a Toyota engine on the worst ever list? Believe it! The 3.0-liter V6 is proof that even Toyota can mess up. If you own one, replace the head gaskets ASAP, or start shopping for a new engine. Volkswagen's 2.0-liter TDI diesel engine was supposed to be fuel-efficient, torque-heavy, and long-lasting. Instead, it became one of Volkswagen's biggest mechanical embarrassments, even before Dieselgate happened. Found in the Jetta, Passat, Golf, and Audi A3, this engine left countless drivers with oil pump failures, camshaft wear, and turbo issues that could destroy the engine well before hitting 100,000 miles. While the early 1.9-liter TDI was reliable, the 2.0-liter TDI, code BRM, BKD, and BMM, received horrible reliability ratings from Consumer Reports and J.D. Power. Camshaft failures, fuel system problems, and expensive turbo replacements plagued the engine. The 2.0-liter TDI was a mess under the hood, with several design flaws that led to premature engine failure. Oil pump balance shaft failures leading to catastrophic engine damage, camshaft wear which reduced power and required expensive top-end rebuilds, turbocharger failures that often caused by excessive carbon buildup in the EGR and intake system, high-pressure fuel pump HPFP failures that sent metal shavings into the fuel system and required a complete system replacement. The engine has an impressive 35 to 45 miles per gallon, but what is the point when you spend thousands on repairs? A used Jetta TDI from this era costs around $5,000 to $8,000, but budget another $3,000 plus for unavoidable repairs. When it worked, the 2.0-liter TDI was fun to drive, torquey, efficient, and smooth. But for many owners, the joy was short-lived as they faced check engine lights, failing turbos, and massive repair bills. Mechanics panicked while working on this engine due to poor access and high labor times. Volkswagen promised clean diesel and longevity. Instead, they delivered one of the most failure-prone diesel engines of all its time. If you see a 2.0-liter TDI for sale, run the other way before it drains your bank account. BMW's N47 Diesel engine, found in the 1 Series, 3 Series, 5 Series, and X3, was supposed to be the perfect combination of performance and efficiency. Instead, it became infamous for one of the most catastrophic design flaws ever: a timing chain that nearly was impossible to replace and often led to complete engine failure. Reliability ratings for the N47 descended, with Consumer Reports and J.D. Power recording high failure rates and maintenance costs. BMW owners who once bragged about their ultimate driving machine soon faced engine reconstructs well before hitting 100,000 miles. The biggest issue with the N47 was its weak timing chain, which stretched or cracked prematurely, leading to sudden engine shutdowns. If the chain broke while driving, the pistons and valves collided, causing irreversible engine damage. BMW refused to recall for years, leaving thousands of owners with repair bills that could easily exceed $8,000. Sure, the N47 got 50 miles per gallon on the highway, but that fuel savings did not mean much when drivers spent thousands on engine repairs. A used BMW 320d with this engine still sells for around $10,000 to $15,000. But unless the timing chain has already been replaced, buying one's like playing Russian roulette with your wallet. Owners loved how the N47 delivered smooth power and great fuel economy until the dreaded rattling noise from the engine started. That noise was the timing chain slowly destroying itself, signaling an incoming financial disaster. BMW dealerships often dismissed early symptoms, telling owners it was a normal diesel noise right up until the engine failed. BMW built an engine that was fast, efficient, and refined, but with a built-in self-destruct button. If you see a BMW with an N47 Diesel, make sure the timing chain's been replaced or walk away before it's too late. Shocked by these engine disasters? We're just getting started. If you're enjoying this list, hit that like button and subscribe for more car fails, engine breakdowns, and automotive nightmares. And let me know in the comments, have you ever owned one of these disasters? Subaru built its reputation on rally-inspired all-wheel drive fun, and the 2.0 turbocharged engine EJ20 and FA20 found in the WRX, Legacy GT, and Forester XT was supposed to deliver just that. Instead of reliability, Subaru enthusiasts got blown head gaskets, cracked pistons, and an engine that guzzled oil faster than it burned fuel. Many of these cars never even saw 50,000 miles before suffering catastrophic engine failure, leaving owners with sky-high repair bills and a whole lot of regret. The 2.0 turbo engine received rock-bottom reliability scores from Consumer Reports, with owners reporting engine knock, excessive oil consumption, and complete turbo failure. J.D. Power also noted numerous complaints about ringland failures, which caused oil leaks, misfires, and even total engine destruction. One of the biggest issues with this engine was its weak piston ringlands, which were known to crack under normal driving conditions, leading to oil seeping into the combustion chamber. Once that happened, the engine would start misfiring, burning oil excessively, and eventually detonating itself into oblivion. While the 2.0-liter turbo could get up to 24 to 28 miles per gallon, that didn't mean much for when you were consistently topping it off with oil or replacing expensive engine parts. A 2014 WRX with this engine still sells for $15,000 to $20,000, but unless it's been rebuilt or heavily modified, expected to be budgeting for an engine replacement. Many owners experienced a consistent check engine light, rough idling, and sudden loss of power, often leading to expensive repair shop visits. Mechanics became all too familiar with this engine, with many saying they could diagnose a failing WRX just by hearing it drive in. Subaru fans love their WRXs and turbocharged models, but the 2.0-liter turbo from this era is an engine lottery you do not want to play. If you own one, watch your oil levels closely, or start saving for a fuel engine rebuild. Mazda's rotary engine is one of the most unique power plants in automotive industry. Found in legendary cars like the RX-7 and RX-8, the Rotary was lightweight, rev-happy, and incredibly fun to drive. But here's the problem. It was one of the most unreliable engines ever put into production of a car. While enthusiasts loved the Rotary's high-revving nature, Consumer Reports and J.D. Power consistently ranked Mazda's Wankel engine as one of the least reliable designs ever. Owners reported constant oil burning, compression loss, and engines that failed long before they should. Mazda tried to refine the design over the years, but even the last rotary-powered RX-8 models were notorious for poor reliability. The rotary engines had no pistons, which made it compact and lightweight, but its biggest flaw was its fragile apex seals, the rotary equivalent of piston rings. These seals wore off quickly, causing compression loss and eventual engine failure. In addition, the engine burned oil by design, demanding regular top-ups to keep running. Despite being a tiny engine, the Rotary was horrendously inefficient, often struggling to get more than 15 to 20 miles per gallon. Owners loved the high-revving power band, but many were shocked at how quickly they were either burning through oil or replacing engines entirely. Today, a used Mazda RX-8 sells for around $5,000 to $10,000, but buying one is a financial risk unless the engine's been rebuilt or swapped. The Rotary engine is exciting to drive with a unique power delivery and red line that sounds like an F1 car, but that excitement's short-lived once you realize it needs regular maintenance, drinks fuel like a V8, and could fail at any moment. The Mazda Rotary engine is an engineering marvel, but also a mechanical nightmare. If you're thinking of buying an RX-7 or an RX-8, make sure you're ready for endless maintenance, oil consumption, and the unavoidable engine rebuild. The 6.0-liter Power Stroke diesel was supposed to be Ford's heavy-duty workhorse, powering F-Series Super Duty trucks and excursions. Instead, it became one of the most failure-prone diesel engines ever made. Plagued by blown head gaskets, faulty EGR coolers, and turbo problems, this engine left countless truck owners stranded and furious. Ford's partnership with Navistar International on this engine turned into a disaster so bad that it led to lawsuits between the two companies. The 6.0-liter Power Stroke scored one of the worst reliability ratings for a diesel engine, with Consumer Reports and J.D. Power highlighting major issues with engine durability, coolant leaks, and turbocharger failures. Owners reported catastrophic engine failure before 100,000 miles, often requiring repairs costing over $10,000. The biggest flaw with the 6.0-liter Power Stroke was its weak head bolts, which could not handle the engine's high pressure. This led to head gasket failures, coolant loss, and eventual engine overheating. Despite being a diesel engine, the 6.0-liter Power Stroke was not particularly fuel efficient, averaging around 12 to 17 miles per gallon, depending on the truck. A used Ford Super Duty from this era could still sell for $15,000 to $25,000, but unless the engine has been bulletproofed, rebuilt with aftermarket fixes, you're looking at thousands in future repairs. When the 6.0-liter actually worked, it provided solid towing power and torque. Many owners faced random stalling, loss of power while towing, and check engine lights that never turned off. Mechanics feared working on this engine, knowing that a simple EGR or head gasket job could turn into a complete engine rebuild. The 6.0-liter Power Stroke was a diesel disaster, costing Ford millions in warranty claims and legal battles. If you're looking for a used Ford truck in this era, make sure it's been fully bulletproofed or be prepared for a financial nightmare. The Chevrolet Vega was GM's attempt to compete with small fuel-efficient imports like the Honda Civic and Toyota Corolla. But instead of a reliable economy car, buyers got one of the worst engines ever put in an American vehicle. The 2.3-liter aluminum block engine was so poorly designed that it overheated, burned oil, and warped its cylinder walls before even hitting 40,000 miles. From the moment it hit the market, Consumer Reports and J.D. Power flagged the Vega's 2.3-liter engine as one of the most failure-prone designs ever. The biggest complaints were catastrophic overheating, piston scuffing, and excessive oil consumption. GM's decision to use a lightweight aluminum engine block without iron liners turned out to be a disaster. The engine was prone to rapid wear, leading to oil leaks and compression loss. Even worse, the cheap head gasket design often failed, allowing coolant to mix with oil and lead to severe overheating. The Vega was supposed to be an economic choice, offering 20 to 30 miles per gallon. But with so many mechanical failures, owners ended up spending more on engine parts than they ever saved on gas. Today, a surviving Vega sells for $5,000 to $10,000, but unless it has a modern engine swap, it's more of a collector's joke than a reliable car. Vega owners quickly learned to keep spare oil and coolant in the trunk because the engine burned both at an alarming rate. Drivers complained about rough idling, constant overheating, and a dashboard full of warning lights. The Chevy Vega's 2.3-liter engine was not just bad, it was a mechanical disaster. If you see one at a classic car show, congratulate the owner. It's a miracle the engine survived. Triumph Stag was supposed to be a luxurious British Grand Tourer, designed to compete with Mercedes and Jaguar. But thanks to its disastrous 3.0-liter V8 engine, the Stag became one of the biggest reliability failures in British automotive history. Both Consumer Reports and J.D. Power recorded highly high failure rates for the Stag's 3.0-liter V8, with owners reporting blown head gaskets, cracked engine blocks, and its cooling system that did not work. Many Stags suffered catastrophic failures before even reaching 40,000 miles, making it one of the most short-lived engines of its time. Triumph had the bright idea to design its own V8 engine rather than using a more reliable Rover or Buick power plant. The result was an engine with a flawed cooling system that consistently overheated, leading to warped cylinder heads and blown gaskets. The timing chain tensioners were weak, meaning chains stretched or snapped, causing valve damage or total engine failure. Despite being a V8, the Stag's 3.0-liter engine only produced 145 horsepower, and yet still managed to be thirsty, unreliable, and underpowered. It averaged around 15 to 18 miles per gallon, but what really drained owners' wallets was the constant need for repairs. Today, a Triumph Stag can be found for around $10,000 to $25,000, but unless the engine's been swapped or something more reliable, it's more of a museum piece than a drivable classic. When it worked, the Stag was smooth and fun to drive, but that wasn't often. Most owners spent time fixing the engine rather than enjoying the car. The Triumph Stag's 3.0-liter V8 is a textbook case of how not to design an engine. If you ever see a Stag on the road, respect the owner. It's a miracle they got it running. In the late 1970s, fuel prices were skyrocketing, and GM saw an opportunity: bring diesel efficiency to American sedans. They brought Oldsmobile Diesel V8, an engine that was supposed to revolutionize fuel economy for family cars. Instead, it became one of the worst automotive failures of all time. The backlash was so severe that it nearly destroyed the reputation of diesel cars in the US for decades. Both Consumer Reports and J.D. Power recorded horrifically low reliability ratings, with complaints of engines failing as early as 30,000 miles. Lawsuits flooded in as owners suffered constant breakdowns, engine stalls, and costly repairs. Rather than designing a true diesel engine from scratch, GM tried to convert an Oldsmobile 350 Ci 5.7-liter gasoline engine into a diesel, and that was the first mistake. Most engines barely made it past 50,000 miles before complete failure. Many owners, fed up with the constant breakdowns, swapped the engine for a regular gasoline V8, turning their diesel experiment into a costly mistake. The one thing GM got right was fuel economy. The Oldsmobile Diesel delivered 25 to 30 miles per gallon, which was impressive for the time. A used Oldsmobile Delta 88 or Cutlass with this engine can still be found for around $5,000 to $10,000. But unless you enjoy towing it to a repair shop, it's best left in the past. Drivers expected quiet, smooth diesel performance. Instead, it got a noisy, underpowered mess that smoked more than a factory chimney. Many shops flat out refused to work on them, knowing that they'd be back in a few months with the same problems. The Oldsmobile Diesel V8 was not just a bad engine, it was a complete disaster that set diesel cars back for decades. If you have one on the road today, congratulate the driver. They're either a miracle worker or a glutton for punishment. In the early 1980s, Cadillac wanted to push the boundaries of fuel efficiency while still offering the power of a big V8. The result was the V8-6-4 variable displacement engine, an ambitious design that could shut down cylinders when extra power was not needed. This sounds great in theory, but in reality, it was a complete nightmare. The technology was far too advanced for its time, and the primitive 1980s computer could not manage the complex cylinder deactivation system properly. Consumer Reports and J.D. Power ranked the Cadillac V8-6-4 as one of the worst engines ever produced, citing constant electrical failures, rough performance, and poor fuel economy, which defeated the whole purpose of the system. The 6.0-liter, 368 cubic inch V8 was supposed to be revolutionary, but its execution was so bad that it destroyed Cadillac's reputation for years. The cylinder deactivation system relied on an early onboard computer which was too slow and unreliable to make seamless transitions between 8, 6, and 4 cylinders. Many frustrated Cadillac owners had mechanics bypass the system, turning their cars into full-time V8s to avoid the endless issues. Cadillac promised better fuel economy, but in real-world driving, it only improved by 1 to 2 miles per gallon, not nearly enough to justify the constant headaches. A used 1981 Cadillac Seville or Eldorado with this engine still sells for around $5,000 to $12,000, but unless it's been fixed or modified, it's more of a museum piece than a functional car. Owning a car with a V8-6-4 engine meant living with unpredictability. Drivers complained about constant hesitation, stalling, and never knowing if the engine would actually respond when they hit the gas. Cadillac's V8-6-4 was an ambitious idea that was 20 years ahead of its time, but unfortunately the technology was not ready. If you see one today, it's either been heavily modified or sitting in a junkyard where it belongs. Some of these were so bad they nearly destroyed entire car brands. Did we miss any? Drop a comment below, and if you enjoyed this, hit like and subscribe, because trust me, there are plenty more mechanical disasters to uncover.